Today, I'll tell you which states you should probably avoid in 2024. Welcome back to the series. This is our third year doing it, and I have to admit that we've been pretty accurate the last 2 years. At least, that's what I think. You may disagree. As we go through this list, some people may think that we skipped some states, but that's probably because we believe that those states have already reached their lowest point and that things would get better. West Virginia is a perfect example. They have amazing people and breathtaking landscapes, so it's kind of difficult to find some genuine benefits about the mountain state after that. It's really cheap, so maybe it's worth the risk. It's kind of like those 99-cent nachos that some people think are worth risking an ER visit. 2 hours later, you feel like you're having a heart attack, so they rush you to the hospital. Once there, you tell your wife you love her and apologize for everything. She gets upset, starts crying, and gets a little irritated about you apologizing for a bachelor party. The doctor then comes in and says it's just gas from some cheap nachos. Every state, city, town, and nation experiences ups and downs. In this list, we will examine 10 states that are experiencing difficulties and why they have recovered. Let's have a look. Number 10, New Jersey. New Jersey has always had issues, ranging from its extremely fun sites to its extremely bad urban areas. If you're not familiar with the term Superfund site, it was once used throughout the nation, but New Jersey was the worst because so many companies there were simply dumping chemicals or engaging in other strange activities, and the state sort of turned a blind eye to it for a long time. However, when various environmental laws were passed, they had to clean them up and they gained the reputation of being extremely fun sites. Although New Jersey is not the largest state, it currently has the most. They have made some progress on the Superfund sites and other fronts, but in 2024, a few issues, such as high taxes and a high cost of living, will only get worse. This is nothing new. High property taxes and general taxes make the state very unappealing to businesses and residents. But as costs grow, the number of individuals leaving the Garden State will also rise. The cost of living and employment are the two main factors that cause people to leave or relocate, and one kind of feeds the other. As living expenses rise, businesses relocate, the state loses jobs, and more people leave. Additionally, they have a serious infrastructure strain. The state is currently having trouble maintaining and modernizing its heavily trafficked transportation infrastructure. New Jersey's roads see a lot of use from both residents and trucks, as well as from people traveling back and forth between the two states. In fact, the majority of people who drive into New York City each day enter New Jersey via New Jersey. Number 9, Nevada. Future hardships for Nevada are anticipated. In fact, they are already experiencing some of them. I watch a few channels that are devoted to Nevada, and they discuss how the state's tourism figures aren't what they anticipated following the earthquake. For those who don't know, it should be evident to all that the state's economy depends heavily on tourism, which experiences seasonal fluctuations. However, the earthquake had a particularly severe impact on Nevada, particularly on Reno and the Las Vegas metro area, where 90% of the state's businesses are located. Now that many states have legalized gambling, in addition to the numerous Indian casinos scattered across the country, which have been around for a while, they are becoming better and bigger every year, gradually eroding the allure of Las Vegas and Reno. However, because they are located in an arid region, they'd also have to deal with some severe water scarcity issues. Every year, Southwest Nevada experiences severe water scarcity, and each year it becomes worse. Fortunately, the winter of 2022 to 2023 was unusually wet for the West, which helped. But it's possible that we won't see that again, and they'll immediately return to having severe water shortages. Every city wants to expand in order to increase its tax base, but when there isn't enough water for everyone, a better solution must be found than what is being implemented at the moment. Number 8, Kentucky. Kentucky is one of those states that we never talk about. I was just explaining this recently, because they're never really that good or bad. But at the moment, they're dealing with some major issues related to their health. Kentucky is one of the most unhealthy states in the Union. You might wonder how this will affect the state's health given that so many of its residents lack private insurance? Well, for starters, the state must pay for private health insurance, and as more people become disabled due to health problems, the state will also bear the financial burden. The state must pay for it. Yes, it receives funding from the federal government, but a sizable portion comes from their own budget. They also struggle because they haven't had a very diverse economy for many years. For many years, they relied heavily on agriculture and coal, and as those industries decline, so does the state's tax base and public income. As a result, in addition to the growing number of unemployed people, the state is only 2 or 3 bad decisions away from becoming the new Mississippi. Number 7. Arkansas. Arkansas has many issues, as I've already mentioned. People are always complaining about their governor, and I'm not sure why. I don't follow politics as much as I should have, so I kind of swore it off. However, I get emails and comments on a regular basis about how I should make a video criticizing the governor of Arkansas. Please stop suggesting that I do that. I'll never make a video like that. Here are the issues with Arkansas. Poverty and income inequality. Some of the greatest rates of poverty in the U.S. are found in Arkansas. Along with the state has historically had lower levels of educational attainment than the national average, which can affect workforce development and economic opportunities. They also really dropped the ball when it came to educational attainment. Related issues like food insecurity and lack of access to healthcare have been going on for a very long time and are only going to get worse. Being a predominantly rural state, Arkansas also suffers the usual issues associated with rural living, such as a lack of jobs, a brain drain, and restricted access to services. Additionally, Little Rock and Pine Bluff, Arkansas, 2 of the most violent cities in the country, are not going to get much safer. Number 6. Illinois. They have debt and pension problems, so I could stop there, but I'll continue since they have Chicago. Illinois is facing severe financial difficulties due to its enormous public pension commitments, budget deficits, and ongoing population reduction, which will reduce its tax base due to natural population decline. Not even the individuals who pass away in Chicago each year from lead poisoning come to mind. Number 5. New Mexico. Sadly, that's where the positive things about New Mexico stop. In my opinion, it's the most beautiful desert state. New Mexico faces issues with drug abuse and educational results. It appears that the state occasionally ranks low in education, which can impact future economic prospects for the entire state, not just individuals. If you don't have an educated workforce, tech companies won't move to your town, city, or state. Crime and poverty are just like in every other state, but they seem to be really focusing on it and really trying to make it worse. New Mexico has been plagued by a high crime rate for a long time, and that isn't going to change in 2020. However, there's one bright spot. A friend of mine recently retired to New Mexico, and his wife is like the ultimate Karen. She calls the police for any minor infraction, even if you leave your car parked on the street for 3 days. Too loud from your Harley, she'll call the police. She captured on camera a neighbor who enjoyed reading on his porch, but he would frequently spit into the sidewalk or the street. Yes, we make fun of her for this all the time, so it's no surprise to her that I'm bringing it up. I'm just not calling her Julie. New Mexico's problems aren't going to get better anytime soon. She recorded that and took it to the police, who laughed at her. Number 4. Alaska. Being overpopulated isn't one of Alaska's many problems. It's the largest state with one of the lowest populations in the nation. The top 5 states with the lowest populations are Wyoming, 576,000, Vermont, 643,000, Alaska, 733,000, North Dakota, 779,000, and South Dakota, OTA, which has 886,000 people. If you combine the land masses of all the other states with Alaska, you could probably fit in New Hampshire and Rhode Island, in addition to those states with relatively low populations. Alaska faces additional issues. The lewd variations in revenue because of the state's heavy reliance on oil. Changes in oil prices can have a negative impact on the budget. and they constantly deal with them. The effects of climate change are also felt strongly in Alaska, where melting permafrost and shifting ecosystems are posing problems for the state's infrastructure and customs. If anyone is thinking that climate change is a hoax, think again. The sole topic of discussion at this point is whether or not humans are making things worse. All scientists agree that the climate is changing because it is a natural occurrence for the Earth to go through cycles, but they disagree as to whether or not humans will have a significant impact on how bad things go this time. Thus, before you post a remark, please update your propaganda. However, given Alaska's oil deposits and the state's ongoing climate change, things will only grow worse by 2024. Number 3. West Virginia. Although West Virginia has seen better days, they have still a long way to go. I believe that 2024 or 2025 will be the last year you will see the decline because prices have dropped to the point where people with jobs or retirees will start moving to West Virginia. The state has been hit with a double blow, as I've mentioned numerous times, with the decline in the coal industry and the opioid crisis. Because the cost of living is low and real estate prices are ridiculously low, and it's just going to get a little bit lower over the next 2 or 3 years as it gets lower and lower. More and more people will actually move in there. It's not going to happen 2024. It's probably not going to happen 2025, 26, 27. I think you'll start seeing West Virginia on the rebound. At least I hope so. There is nothing but good people in West Virginia that have seen some really hard times, and they really need things to break their way for a change. I mean, these people deserve it. Number 2. Louisiana. Louisiana's been going downhill for quite some time. I was just there last January. I'll actually be there again this January. The entire state has some serious problems with their poverty, their economic challenges, crime in their cities, and their small towns. I mean, they honestly have some of the worst cities in the country. When it comes to crime, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, Shreveport, they really don't have any decent cities. It's too bad too. Besides all those problems, Mother Nature shows up in the form of a hurricane every now and then to slap Louisiana around just to let them know who's in charge, since much of the state, if not all of it, is at sea level. They ought to be concerned about the effects of climate change as well. Number 1. California. Undoubtedly, California is experiencing both man-made and natural disasters, and many of the latter have a strong political undertone. I don't believe California has implemented a policy mandating a $200 permit in order to trigger an earthquake. Give them time. If you browse the internet or watch the news, you are aware of the numerous issues California faces. Poverty, violence, earthquakes, and homelessness, wildfires, of course, and Kardashians every year, wildfires, and a severe drought continue to plague California. It's not like other calamities where you hope that you won't be hit by a hurricane this year if you live in Louisiana, or that a tornado won't reach your town if you live in Indiana. You can only hope that California doesn't experience a snowstorm this year. They already know that there will be hundreds, if not hundreds, of wildfires every year. The only issue is which region of the state will be most severely damaged. I still find it difficult to understand why there aren't more of those extremely powerful scrubber planes. If you don't know what I'm talking about, they're these planes that fly out to the ocean or on a lake, and as they get close to the water they kind of land, and just fill these tanks underneath with up to 1,600 gallons of water in just a few seconds. California had fires every single year, and a few years ago, they didn't even own one. Instead, they would rent them from people to fight the fires. They take off from the lake or ocean's surface and travel to wherever they are currently needed. From what I've seen every year, I just heard that 30 are being deployed to California for the upcoming fire season. That's not nearly enough in my opinion. I believe doubling that amount to 60 would be a decent start, and treble would be a good number. 90 of them are merely the viewpoint of a man who has no experience with fires other than wildfires. As I've already indicated, California faces a number of issues, some of which are being addressed while others are only becoming worse. That is today's movie. Maybe you enjoyed it and learned something from it. Now go out, have a great day, and treat each other with kindness. I believe that California will be burdened by these growing difficulties for a few more years.